All right, what's up, everybody? Just gonna get things set up, and we'll be ready to go. Uh, if you missed it, I did upload a YouTube short, uh, a uh, live reaction to Cleveland Browns Chicago Bears game, and B with why the podcast is today and not yesterday. I'll also go into that once I get through the intro, but just a side point I want to add on. Hope everyone's day is going well. Happy holidays. Okay. It's probably gonna be a short episode because it's just or relatively short because it's just football this week in the news department. Okay, just gotta get audio set up, and we're ready to begin. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of Benny in the Booth podcast. On this week's episode, we've got one heck of a Week 15 NFL recap with the Week 16 predictions, talking about, mention also a few other things here and there. Let's get right into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 106 of Benny in the Booth podcast. Thank you so much for the support to this point. I very much do appreciate it. Of course, if you haven't, on my YouTube, Sunday after the Browns-Bears game went soon after the Browns-Bears game went final, I did post an immediate reaction. If you haven't checked it out, that is on my YouTube channel. It also, I didn't mention why I was not able to do this week's episode last night. But if you haven't watched that short, just so you know, I was at the Islanders game last night. Plus, I had a sports career fair for a whole bunch of New York teams, which wasn't as many New York teams, which there's one thing, and the fair was well done and fun, and well, I guess not. I don't know, but it was good. Not a lot of teams, but good for the ones I wanted to give my resume into. But the wise thing is like the fair started at 3:30. You get in at 3, go up at 3:30 for all the teams and stuff. Ends at 5:30. Doors open around 6. You think, okay, you could just stay in the stadium. You don't have to go back out to re-enter, especially with it being very cold weather. However, no, that's not the case. We literally had, and I was with some people for the fair part and the game. Literally had to exit out of the stadium, wait a few minutes, and then re-enter for the game, which was just absolutely pathetic and dumb and stupid. But either way, that's why I was not able to do the episode last night. I also got to meet a hockey legend for all the hockey fans I might have on this podcast or in general that know me, who basically was like having a like picks and autographs thing outside of like a small team store on the arena, which it's a great arena, by the way, outside of the whole fiasco. Butch Goring, if you've heard of him before, this is, I mean, it's not the most clear, but this was the pick I got with him. And for context, I'm in like a suit because it's like, that's like kind of recommended dress code for career fair, but it's not really dress code. It's more like, if you can, that's the most ideal. And the hat, by the way, which in this frame would be on my right, but in my reality is left. is the hat I had that he signed. I'll actually show it. Hold on. It's basically like with his jersey number that he has retired with the Islanders. 91. This was the hat, and this is his signature. But yeah, nice guy. Also, it was against Edmonton, who they had the player that is like supposedly very good, Connor McDavid, but he did nothing in the game. Islanders won 3-1. Did not have the but yeah, that is why I was not able to do the episode yesterday. College football playoffs and New Year's Six bowl predictions I'm going to be doing next week, because next week is when those bowl games are happening. So I'm going to be saving those predictions for next week. I also don't know when I'm going to be doing next week's episode, because I might be going to Baltimore for Tuesday night, Wednesday, if things work out. But I will probably still do an episode, or at least get out my CFP predictions. Maybe I won't do it live and do it pre-recorded, but I will definitely get something out. I just don't know to what extent, because of what I have going on that day. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, college football playoffs predictions will be next week. I also just got an update that my new mic might be coming next week, actually. So, might be having my new mic very soon. But we'll keep you guys posted when I know more updates. But as the latest I've gotten, it might be coming sometime next week. I'm not sure if it'll be for next week's episode or not, but I'll be having my new mic very, very soon. So, happy to report that. Let's dive into NFL Week 15 recap. Oh boy. Chargers Raiders from Thursday Night Football. Raiders destroyed the Chargers 63-21, which marked the first time since 1972 multiple teams score 60 points in a game in one season. Dolphins being the other team that did it earlier this year against Denver. And then also after this game, the Chargers finally disposed of their head coach Brandon Staley, which it was about damn time. Many games and weeks too late, but another story for another day. They also let go of their GM after the loss. But congrats to Chargers that you're finally rid of your coach. They're also 1 for 25 on 3rd and 4th downs this year, which is just kind of really sad and pathetic. And also, the Raiders had 8 different players scored touchdown, which marks 4th time in NFL history that happened in a single game, whether regular season or playoffs. Evan McPherson's 29-yard field goal leads the Bengals over the Vikings 27-24 in overtime. Browns came back from down 17-7, and even with Flacco throwing 3 interceptions to beat the Bears 20-17 off Dustin Hopkins' game-winning 34-yard field goal, and Darnell Mooney not having proper hands. Well, it could have been a Hail Mary touchdown, but instead he was not able to fully grasp the ball and turned it into an interception by Mike Ford, which I will admit, and I even said this in live reaction, hey, I thought when Joe Flacco, the second INT, was a pick six, I thought, oh, all right, this might be over. 1. And 2, I also feel bad for Bears fans about the whole Darnell Mooney thing, because he has that, you have a crazy miracle win out of nowhere and have your hopes still alive for playoffs. Now it's relatively, if not pretty much out the door. Also, I was thanks to Fox posting this during the game, I know of other teams that have had 4 different QBs win a game in a season. The craziest fact of it all is only one of these teams made the playoffs. And it's actually the most recent one, but I will go through the list. So the other teams that have this was the 1961 Buffalo Bills between Richie Lucas, MC Reynolds, Warren Robb, and Johnny Green. The 1987, 1988, and 1989 New England Patriots in 87 was Steve Grogan, Tom Ramsey, Tony Easton, I should say 4+. Bob Lyer and Doug Flutie. 88 was Flutie, Grogan, Easton, Ramsey. 89 was Grogan, Easton, Flutie, and Mark Wilson. 1998 New Orleans Saints between Billy Joe Tolliver, Kerry Collins, Danny Werfel, and Billy Joe Holbert. 2007 Panthers between Vinny Testaverde, David Carr, Matt Moore, Jake Delhomme, and the only team to have this and make the playoffs, the 2015 Texans, who lost in the wild card game. I forget who, but Oh, yeah, no, it was against the Raiders back when they were in Oakland. They had Brian Hoyer, Brian Mallett, TJ Yates, and Brandon Weeden. That is the list of teams to have 4 different quarterbacks win a game in a season. Kyrie Fairbairn, game-winning 54-yard field goal leads Houston over Tennessee, who was using the Houston Oilers uniforms, 19-16 in overtime, which I don't think really that Tennessee should have the right to use those uniforms. But that's another story for another day. Either way, Eddie Pinheiro, game-winning 23-yard field goal leads Panthers to their second win of the season over the Falcons, 9-7 in a lull of a game. I didn't even watch much of that game. In Buccaneers' 34-20 win over the Packers, Baker Mayfield became first road QB ever to have a perfect passer rating at Lambeau Field, which, for context, if you don't know, that is where the Packers play their home games. Buffalo run game, which was really mostly James Cook, destroyed Dallas 31-10. I thought, okay, even if Buffalo wins, it'll be a close game. Dallas will put up a good fight. No, Dallas got blown out to shreds and had, no shot. Now they have to play Miami, so it's good luck to them. Ravens destroyed the Jaguars 23-7, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Sorry, hold on one moment. Jackson Smith and Jigba's 29-yard touchdown pass leads Seahawks over the Eagles 20-17. It was not as clock expired, but close to when the clock expired. This week, I was really good in predictions. I went 13-3 from a bad week to a very good week. And my total predictions record for this year is 138-86. Standings update, and this will include any team not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs from now on. First place is the Ravens at 11-3, followed by the 10-4 Dolphins, followed by a three-way tie for third. Well, technically three-way, but only two because of two being division leaders and one not. Between the Chiefs, the Chiefs and the Jaguars are division leaders, and then technically the Browns, with their non-division leader, all at 9-5. Followed by a multiple-way tie for 6 between the Bengals, the Colts, the Texans, and the Bills, all in that order, all in 8-6. Followed by a multiple-way tie for 10th between the Steelers, Broncos, and Steelers and Broncos at 7-7, followed by the 6-8 Raiders, followed by the 5-9 Chargers. And then in the NFC, first place is San Francisco, who's officially clinched division at 11-3, followed by the 10-4 Cowboys, who have clinched the playoff spot, followed by the 10-4 Lions, followed by the 7-7 Buccaneers, followed by the 10-4 Eagles, who have also clinched the playoff spot, followed by a tie for 6th multiple way between the Vikings, the Packers, the Seahawks, and the Saints, all at 7-7. Followed by a two-way tie for 10th between the Falcons and the Packers, 6-8. Followed by a two-way tie for the 12th between the Giants and the Bears at 5-9. And now for this week's predictions, Week 16, which is crazy to be saying. There are only 3 weeks left of the NFL before playoffs. Thursday Night Football, Saints at Rams. I have the Rams winning. Saturday, we have 2 games. Bengals at Steelers, I have the Bengals. Bills at Chargers, I have the Bills. Sunday games, Colts at Falcons, I have the Colts. Seahawks and Titans, I have the Seahawks. Lions at Vikings, I have the Lions. Commanders at Jets, I have the Jets. Packers at Panthers, I have the Packers, which, by the way, Panthers tickets are really cheap right now. Even some are cents, under $1. So if you have an excuse to go to a Panthers game, here you go. Browns at Texans, and I will say this. CJ Stroud's going to be out, but with how Case Keenum led the Texans to a comeback, I am definitely concerned about this game. But I do think the Browns are going to win. And I'm going to go over clinching case scenarios because there's a whole bunch. And the Browns have chance, but a lot has to happen. It's 8 different things. 8 possibilities. But either way, before I get into clinching case scenarios, Jaguars at Buccaneers, I have the Jaguars. Cardinals at Bears, I have the Bears. Cowboys at Dolphins, I have the Dolphins. Sunday Night Football, Patriots at Broncos, I have the Broncos. Christmas, we have a day game, 1 p.m. on CBS. Chiefs hosting the Raiders, I have the Chiefs. Giants at the Eagles at 4:30 on Fox, I have the Eagles. And then Monday Night Football on ABC, it will be the Ravens at the Niners, I have the Niners. That should be a very interesting game. So, clinching case scenarios for this week. The Ravens have a chance to clinch the division. AFC North. All that has to happen is if they beat the Niners and the Browns lose to the Texans, or Ravens tie and the Browns lose. But let's be honest, that ain't going to be a tied game most likely. So as long as they win and Browns lose, Ravens get the division. Buckle your seatbelt for how the Browns could clinch a playoff spot, because this is something. And I will preface with this. Every case scenario, the Browns, basically in all the case scenarios, the Browns have to win. So that's straightforward. Case scenario 1, aside, and I'm not going to stay every time with Browns winning, but all these with the Browns have to win. First case scenario, along with winning, the Bengals have to lose to the Steelers. The Broncos have to lose to the Patriots or tie. The Bills have to lose to the Chargers. The Dolphins have to beat Dallas or tie, which is some sort of weird tiebreaker thing. And the Colts have to lose or tie with Atlanta. That's the first one. The second one, aside from a win, Steelers have to lose or tie to the Bengals. Bills have to lose to the Chargers. Dolphins have to win or tie with the Cowboys. Jaguars have to lose to the Buccaneers. And Broncos have to lose or tie. Or, no, not Broncos. And Colts have to lose or tie with Atlanta. Case scenario number 4. Steelers lose or tie, Broncos lose or tie, Jaguars lose, and Colts win. Or fifth case scenario, Steelers lose or tie, Bills lose, Chiefs win, Colts win, and Jaguars lose. Sixth case scenario, Steelers lose or tie, Broncos lose or tie, Dolphins win or tie, and the Colts lose. A seventh case, Steelers lose or tie, Broncos lose or tie, Dolphins win or tie, and the Jaguars lose. Or the last possible case scenario is with a Steelers and Bengals tie, Bills lose, Colts win, and Jaguars lose. Those are all the possible case scenarios. I'm basically presuming they're not going to clinch the playoff spot this week, and it's probably going to happen next week. And not just because, I don't know if they're for sure going to win or not. Just more with how crazy these scenarios are. I doubt it, but we'll see what happens. Either way, the Chiefs can clinch a playoff spot and the division title with a win, or if they tie and the Broncos lose, the Dolphins could clinch the division with a win and a Bills loss or tie, or if they tie and Bills lose. But they can also automatically clinch a playoff spot no matter what, as long as they win or they tie and Jaguars lose, or they tie and Colts lose and Texans lose, or they tie, Colts lose or tie and Browns lose, or Dolphins tie and Texans lose or tie and Bengals lose or tie, or if the Dolphins tie, Bengals lose or tie, or Colts lose or tie. That is all for the AFC this week. For the NFC this week, the Lions clinch a division with a win or tie. They can clinch a playoff berth if the Rams or Seahawks lose or tie this week. San Francisco can clinch the NFC's number 1 seed, lone first round bye, and home field advantage throughout the playoffs, not including the Super Bowl, if they win, plus Eagles lose, plus Cowboys lose, plus Lions lose. And that is all the possible clinching case scenarios for this week. Man, oh man, it will be interesting to see how things play out. Will anybody clinch? Will nobody clinch? We'll see what happens. Well, let's wrap things up. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Benny and Luke Podcast. On next week's episode, we will do NFL Week 16 recap with the Week 17 predictions. If there's any MLB news between now and then, we will have that. And we will also have college football New Year's 6 bowl games and college football playoff predictions, which will include college football national championship game predictions with any of the possible 4 different outcomes that could come out of the semifinals, with what, depending on the outcome, who would win in the conference national championship game. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you're new on YouTube, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, leave a notification button so notified when I go live and I post a new video. If you're new on audio, follow the podcast, leave a review, hit the notification button so notified when I post on there. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I'll see you next week's episode 107. Bye!